UFOs are real, burgeoning, not going away. Welcome to another episode, and I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. We'll get into this article from the Intelligencer. It's quite lengthy, and I'm just going to hit some highlights of it, so bear with me. We'll get into that and so much more. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Folks, have you taken a good look at the banks lately? On the surface, everything seems fine, but there seems to be a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and those credit cards we all use. Folks, they're hitting record highs. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% return when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold Investments can help. They're like that friend who knows all about keeping money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the financial world. Plus, they've got a sweet deal, a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin this month if you qualify. Pretty good stuff, right? If you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. It's just a chat, no pressure. They'll help you figure out if gold and silver are right for you. Or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Once again, the number 877-646-5347. Folks, we've invested in Noble Gold, and quite frankly, I'm glad we did. So this article is not a hit piece, but the person writing it, the author of the article, is Nicholson Baker, a novelist and essayist from Maine. Well, Nicholas, you're more than welcome to come on the show here and discuss it. So he starts off with Avi Loeb, and he sorts of gets back into that. But then he focuses on David Grush, a former intelligence officer, stepped out of the shadows to announce that the U.S. military establishment currently possesses flying saucers. He didn't call them saucers. He called them UAPs. What are we to believe here? Just because this particular author says that it's not true, that Grush, the whistleblower, is lying, not telling us the truth. It's story after story after story. It's whistleblowers coming forward. It's people that I've interviewed. And after a while, you just go, UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. There's too many sightings. So we get this story. And of course, Leslie Kean is talked about in here, and he gets into the Pentagon and all of that, the $22 million program, ATIP, Advanced Aeronautical Threat Identification Program. That's with Luis Elizondo. But in the book I'm working on, and I've got 10 chapters pretty much in the can, and that'll be out sometime this year. The rungs on the ladder of disclosure. So we're up around rung number 16, rung number 17. David Grush, in front of Congress, and remember, he's under oath. Now, has he seen the bodies? Probably not. But what he stated on the record was, according to David Grush, according to what he's heard, according to people that have come to him, that bodies, non-human biologics, were recovered from these crash discs. We've known about this. That's what happened at Roswell. So it goes on from there, and Representative Nancy Mace asked Grush whether there were bodies in the crash craft. Biologics came with some of the recoveries. So, we know this. There it is. So now, of course, they come in, this particular author, and this is why the title of his piece, let me get that, because it's important that you get that. No aliens haven't visited the Earth. Why are so many smart people insisting otherwise? So I take umbrage with that because I consider myself fairly smart, and I've been investigating the phenomena for decades. Gil Zimmerman and I, my business partner, have 8 films out on the phenomena. We've interviewed people that have had close encounters of the first, second, third, and fourth kind. We've interviewed people that had abductions, 4 people. Al Matthews, who was in our very first film. Al was taken when he was 6 years old. Karen Wilkinson, taken when she was 5 or 6. And we published her book, Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. What are we to make of all this? Emil Jurek, taken. And when you look at the torment on Emil's face in the film, when he talks about they locked the doors and the windows. They put locks on the doors and the windows of his room so he couldn't get out. And guess what? There are the locks, and the next morning they find him out on the front lawn. How is that possible? And he looks at the camera and says, you tell me. You tell me. These entities manipulate space, time, matter, and energy. So the problem I have with this is how much information, how much actual data do we need before skeptics like this stop going, writing ridiculous pieces like this? I mean, here's the evidence, and no matter what you show him, he's poo-pooing it. Then, of course, he talks about Roswell. We have 2 films about Roswell, but has he spent time in the debris field? Did he go to Hangar 84 and talk to Bull about the debris that was there? Does he know anything about the Walter G. Haut deathbed confession, the affidavit, which is available online? Just Google Walter G. Haut, H-A-U-T, and you can read it for yourself. They passed around the wreckage. No one had ever seen anything like it before. Jesse Marcel in our film, Roswell 1, Roswell Revisited Exoneration, and Roswell Revisited in the Debris Field. We have a clip from Jesse Marcel Sr., who states on the record that there were pieces of this foil laying on the ground, and you would ball it up, and it would just, like water, it would come back. And you could trade it with a sledgehammer, and you couldn't dent it. So he was a patsy, and that's why, in our opinion, and that's why our films, specifically the first film, Exoneration, we interviewed Jesse Marcel Jr.'s widow. There's also a reenactment of the Marcel interview that I conducted with Jesse Marcel before he passed away several years ago. Denise Marcel, his daughter, one of his best friends, Dr. Richard O'Connor. It's all in the film, as well as a host of other people that corroborate the story. So, the intelligencer maybe is not so intelligent because, you're typical, you're looking at the evidence, but this guy's never done anything. He's just quoting other magazine articles. Do your homework. With all due respect, sir. Go up and talk to Jesse Marcel Jr.'s widow. Go to Area 51. I've been to all of these places. I've talked to people. I've talked to too many witnesses, too many first-hand accounts. Are you aware that on the day of the fire here in 2018, there was a UFO essentially directly above our house? We have a picture of it. I've shown it at conferences. This is the coming great deception. Folks, if you've not seen the films, you need to see these. You really do. You can stream them. Go to streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net. If you want the hard copies, you got to go to the website, lamarzulli.net. Anyway, folks, I respect this guy. I mean, he writes well, and he is quoting a lot of information, and he's trying to tell us that Corso is misled, and all these people that have come forward, they really don't understand what they're looking at or even what they're talking about. And Nicholson Baker, you're welcome to come on the show, and we'll have a friendly discussion. No yelling and screaming, no disparaging you, sir, in any way. I respect what you've done. You're a brilliant writer. You're really good. But have you talked to the witnesses? Have you sat down with an abductee? Have you pulled an alien implant out of someone? That suddenly vanished in the operating theater when, 2 weeks before, we found it very easily with the ultrasound wand, the ultrasound machine, Dr. Matriciani. I've been in the field. I'm a researcher. I'm a journalist. I'm an investigative journalist, an investigative reporter. We go to the sites. We talk to the people. We were in the debris field. We found 2 pieces of metal. Thank you, Frank Kimbler and Chuck Sikowski. We had the metal tested. It doesn't add up. There is a hidden agenda here. The information is a managed agenda. Anyway, folks, go to the site. Thanks so much for tuning in. This article is from the Intelligencer. I think you'll find it interesting. And once again, it's by Nicholson Baker. No, aliens haven't visited the Earth. Why are so many smart people insisting otherwise? So that kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it's a disinformation piece, in my humble opinion. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago.
The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brizzell was the man who discovered the saucer. Colonel William Blanchard of the Roswell Air Base refuses to give details of what the flying disc looks like.